Welcome to our presentation on dynamic reporting with EViews. Today, we'll explore how to integrate your research and presentations seamlessly using a powerful technology called object linking and embedding. The core idea is to stop the tedious cycle of recopying and pasting. We want to connect our documents so they can update themselves, saving time and reducing errors. Imagine you have a monthly report in Word with 10 graphs from EViews. If your data for the month changes, instead of manually recreating and replacing all 10 graphs, you can have them update automatically with just a few clicks. That's the power we'll unlock today. But before we see the solution, let's first understand the problem many of us face, the static copy-paste trap. The traditional workflow is a broken cycle. You update your data in an EViews workfile, then you must delete the old graph or table in your Word document. Next, you manually copy the new object from EViews and paste it into Word. This often requires tedious reformatting and resizing, which introduces a high risk of human error. The fundamental issue is that static copies are completely disconnected from their source data. This costs valuable time in reformatting and, most dangerously, creates a high risk of version control errors, where your report might show outdated results. This slide presents the Integration Decision Matrix, a flowchart designed to help you choose the most appropriate method for integrating EViews objects into Word or Excel. The decision process starts by asking if you intend to export an EViews object. The first key question is, will the data change, especially if it's for a recurring report? If the answer is yes, then the recommended approach is method, linking, which ensures updates occur automatically. If the data will not change, you move to the second question. Will you need to customize the appearance later? If yes to this, then choose method, embedding, providing an editable snapshot. If no to both questions, meaning the data won't change and no appearance customization is needed, then method, picture, static archive is the suitable choice. On the right, a quick guide summarizes these methods. Link is for live data and monthly reports, embed is for one-off papers requiring cosmetic tweaks, and picture is for permanent archives. This matrix simplifies the decision-making process for effective dynamic reporting. When you link an object, the data owner is EViews. The link is just a reference, so it keeps the file size of your Word document very small. However, it creates a live, dependent connection, meaning you always need access to the source EViews file. With embedding, the container document, Word or Excel, becomes the data owner. It stores a full copy of the data, which makes the file size large. The key benefit is that the connection is broken. The document is independent and portable. Pasting as a picture means there is no data owner and no connection. The file size impact is small, but the object is completely static and uneditable. Object linking is a one-way street. The EViews workfile, labeled as the source owner, sends data via a pointer/reference to the Word document, which acts as the window/viewer. There are three critical prerequisites for successful object linking. First, the workfile must be saved and named. You should never link from an untitled workfile. Second, the specific object within the workfile must also be named. Third, the file path to the workfile must remain static. If you move the source file after linking, the connection will break, resulting in an orphaned object. Therefore, do not move the source file after linking, as any changes to the path will sever the link. With embedding, your Word document acts as a container. It holds a complete, packed copy of the EViews data and object. When you double-click an embedded object in Word, it opens a temporary, independent instance of EViews right inside your document. The title bar might say something like EViews Embedded 01. This method is best for one-off presentations or papers where you need to make small cosmetic edits, like changing graph colors, but you don't want the hassle of carrying around the original, large data files. When you link an EViews object into Excel, you can see the connection syntax in the formula bar. It's an array formula that follows a specific structure. application call, directory path, and object name. The formula starts with EViews, which is the application call, telling Excel which program to communicate with. This is followed by the full directory path to the workfile, and finally, an exclamation mark and the object name within that file, like GDP graph. This link points to a specific data structure, such as a series or graph in EViews. Under the hood, Excel uses OLEDB, or Object Linking and Embedding, database to establish this communication. Advanced users can even manually edit this path in the formula bar to redirect a broken link. The formula EViews:/research/project.wef1:GDP graph tells Excel to connect to the EViews application, find the file project.wef1 in the C:/research folder, and display the object named GDP graph. The process is a simple 4-step sequence. First, select the named object you want to link or embed within EViews. Second, go to the menu and select Edit, then Copy. It's important to choose the Formatted option if available to preserve its appearance. Third, switch over to your destination application, either Word or Excel. Finally, and this is the most critical part, do not use a standard paste. You must use the Paste Special command. The keyboard shortcut for this is Alt+E+S. A standard paste will only insert a static picture. To copy your inflation forecast graph, you would click on the graph in EViews, press Ctrl+C, switch to Word, and then press Alt+E+S to open the dialog box that gives you the linking and embedding options. That Paste Special command opens a dialog box with several choices. Let's decode what those options mean. In the Paste Special dialog, you have two main choices on the left, Paste and Paste Link. Selecting Paste Link is the key to creating a dynamic, auto-updating object, as it maintains a live connection to your source EViews workfile. On the right, you choose the format. For graphs, select EViews Object. This is crucial for dynamic graphs, preserving their editability and ensuring the highest quality. For tables, it's best to select Formatted Text RTF. RTF, or Rich Text Format, preserves the table's structure and formatting, making it look just like it did in EViews for dynamic tables. If you choose Paste without linking and select EViews Object, it will embed the object, allowing you to edit it within your document, but without a live connection to the original source. Therefore, the decision is clear. Select Paste Link for auto updates, choose EViews Object for graphs, and select RTF for tables to preserve formatting. Here's a typical workflow. First, you update your EViews workfile with the latest month's data for GDP, Gross Domestic Product. The source file is now changed. Next, you open your Word report. You don't need to delete anything. Simply right-click on the linked graph. From the context menu that appears, select Update Link. The graph in your Word document will instantly refresh to reflect the new data from EViews. The result is 0 reformatting and a perfectly updated report in seconds. It's the first week of the month. You download the new GDP data and append it to your EView series. You open your monthly economicoutlook.docx report, right-click the main GDP chart, click Update Link, and the report is ready to send. The entire process takes less than a minute. This is incredibly powerful for reports, but we can take it a step further by using live data directly in Excel. Here's a power user tip for Excel. When you link a table of data, avoid linking it as a picture. This makes the numbers static and unusable. Instead, use Paste Link and choose text or Unicode text as the format. This brings the raw numbers into the Excel cells. The major advantage is that this data is now computable and alive. You can build Excel formulas that reference these linked cells. When you update the EViews data and refresh the link, all your Excel formulae recalculate based on the new data. This slide focuses on managing your linked objects. The EViews object toolbar includes a Push button. This button is used to manually send updates from EViews to all open linked documents. We also have 3 key link statuses to understand. First, a link is active when both the EViews application and your destination document, like Word or Excel, are open. In this state, the push button is typically visible, allowing for live updates. Second, a link is inactive when the destination document is closed. In this scenario, EViews will queue any updates. When you next open your document, the updates will be applied. Finally, and critically, a link can be broken. This is often referred to as an orphaned object risk. A broken link occurs when the source path to the EViews workfile or the EViews object itself has changed. The main causes are renaming the EViews object or moving the EViews workfile to a new location. It's important to note that renaming the Word document that contains the link does not break the connection. If you encounter a cannot find source error, it's a clear sign your link is broken due to one of these reasons. To summarize the OLE protocol, always use links for your recurring monthly or quarterly reports, where data changes frequently. Use embedding for one-off presentations or final papers, where you might need to make small, self-contained cosmetic changes. Use pictures only for historical archives, where the data is final and no further edits or updates will ever be needed. And the 2 golden rules to prevent broken links: always save your work file before you start creating links. And most importantly, never move the source files after you have linked them to your documents. In conclusion, OLE transforms EViews from being just a calculator into a truly dynamic publishing engine, effectively bridging the gap between your detailed analysis and its final publication. We've reached the Q&A section and resources. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have about dynamic reporting with EViews and OLE. I also want to